Thank you, Fiona. And hopefully there you will have heard some information about ways to enable digital giving that you think might work in your congregation, whether that be contactless devices, QR codes, online donate buttons, or a mix of all of those options. And that's absolutely fantastic. And as Pauline said at the beginning of this webinar, we are here to try and find the best, most inventive ways to enable people to give their best to God and to the church. But devices and technology cannot enable that giving by themselves. Like so many other things in the church, people and the way that we communicate are so important. And communication is no less crucial when it comes to digital giving. Congregations who have already started using technology to aid giving in this way have found that it really comes into its own when it is well promoted and when people are reminded that these options to give are available. So, if your congregation, for example, decides that for the moment an online donate facility or a QR code is the best option, while your services are being carried out online, then once they are established, remind people about them. You could include them in your weekly intimations if you have them before your service, or acknowledge the different ways that people give their offerings by including a prayer of thanksgiving during the time of offering for all those who support the work of the church through standing orders and the donate button. You could add the QR code to your homepage of your website or pin it to the top of your social media profiles. And once our doors are open again, soon, God willing, if your congregation decides that a contactless device is the way to go forward, then no matter the device you choose, whether it is a small portable one or a large display unit, it is important again to always communicate that it is there and it is another way to give our offerings. And this is true not only for special events such as baptisms or community services, but during every service of worship. You may be surprised at people's willingness to give when they are given the opportunity to do so in a way that suits them. You may also find that people are more willing to give when they have a fuller understanding of what they are supporting. We know that congregations all across the country have been doing and are continuing to do amazing things to support their communities and to further the kingdom at home and abroad. And it is those things that monetary offerings support. So let people know what your church is up to. Give them updates on projects that are underway and your visions for their future. Some devices that Fiona mentioned previously have functions that allow you to share your congregation's stories and images on the devices themselves. But even if the device you choose does not have this function, the same effect can be had by making a small display near your device. A display with pictures, information leaflets and plans for projects, groups and work that you are doing. This is a really exciting time in the church, and if we can share that excitement, people will support us in doing God's work. I mentioned there briefly the use of social media, and I'm sure I don't have to tell anyone the important part that this tool can play after the year our churches have had. As congregations are using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram and even TikTok to share their mission and ministry, we urge you to continue to use these platforms to share ways that people can give to church and to remind them of the amazing work that they would be supporting. Another online service that your congregations can use to enable giving are sites such as Amazon Smile and Easy Fundraising. These platforms allow individuals to support registered charities, or in our case our congregations, when shopping online from the comfort of their own homes at no additional cost. This involves registering with a platform which links to your online shopping. Shopping through these platforms result in a percentage contribution being made to your congregation. On Amazon Smile, these donations come from purchases you make on Amazon, and with Easy Fundraising, the donations come from purchases from a vast array of online shops and services. Although the percentages of donations are usually small, ranging from 0.5% to 5% of a person's overall purchase, these amounts quickly add up, and as a user of both of these sites myself, I can attest to how easy they are to both use. But despite all of the changes and challenges that our congregations have had to face over the past year, there are still aspects of our finance system which have not changed. As mentioned earlier this evening, standing orders remain the best and cheapest giving option, and congregations who have most of their regular givers signed up to standing orders have reported a more stable financial position throughout the lockdown period with this regular source income. It is important to always encourage and allow people the opportunity to create their standing order. So you may wish to have contact details for who to get in touch with and how to set this up, in the same way that you would promote any new forms of digital giving. Another great scheme to try and take full advantage of is the Gift Aid and GASDS small donation scheme. This can see your congregation reclaiming an extra 25 pence per pound donated if the donor is a UK taxpayer. One thing that you may or may not be aware of is that, especially in these times of social distancing, gift aid declaration forms can be made electronically and do not need a handwritten signature to be valid. So while a signed declaration is preferable, you can still sign up any new people to the gift aid scheme without having to meet or handle any physical paperwork. There have been a few changes that have been made to the Gift Aid and GASDS guidelines over the past few months, which are worth noting from a church finance point of view. The first thing to note is that payments made through a contactless machine are eligible for GASDS Gift Aid Small Donation Scheme, but remember, it is not applicable on online donations or QR codes. A second point to note is that small donations collected over a number of weeks but handed over as a cumulative donation can now possibly be claimed through GASDS. For example, if a member of your congregation, we'll call her Margaret, normally gives £10 a week in her free will offering envelopes, which would ordinarily be eligible for GASDS, but now because of lockdown has given £100, which was supposed to represent her 10 donations over the past 10 weeks. A GASDS claim can be made on this bulk donation as it represents a regular offering over that 10 weeks. Another gift aid change that may be of interest to you is the rules around the purchase of event tickets which have had to be cancelled. For instance, if a member of your congregation, again we'll say Margaret, bought a ticket for an online afternoon tea that the church was holding, which was then cancelled, and Margaret was feeling very generous and said that instead of a refund, the church could just keep the money. This could now be claimed on gift aid, as it is now seen as a donation, as there is no exchange of goods or services. Likewise, if somebody had given a financial loan to your congregation, but then decided that they did not want either some or all of the repayments back, then the monies not repaid could have gift aid claimed on them, as they would now be seen as a monetary donation. Now, we have given you lots of information this evening about enabling giving and the technology that can be used for it. However, we would also like to draw your attention to our other resources. A narrative of generosity is our main resource, and it helps congregations explore their own stewardship journeys as a response to God's generosity. A narrative of generosity uses stories to create a more flexible and holistic approach to stewardship, looking at 12 themes, including money, time, and gifts, which are the themes we are all familiar with, but also how we steward our relationships with God and with each other, how we utilise our possessions, how we look after our volunteers and our youth, how we care for our minds and our bodies, and how we steward the earth and the vision that God has given us for his congregations and his community. And as your stewardship consultants, we would be more than happy to talk to you about how this might be run in your congregation. We can also assist your congregations in areas such as personal giving programs, legacy promotion, gift aid information and fundraising and external grants. You may be aware that David Williams has recently been made the grant manager for the Church of Scotland, and the team hope to continue to work closely with him to help our congregation secure external grants and funds when needed. And of course, each of us are more than happy to talk to any of you, hopefully face to face at one point, but especially for the time being online. We can meet with individuals, teams, or even Kirk sessions to discuss stewardship matters. We are always happy to talk with you and to help you wherever you can, so please don't be shy about getting in touch with us. And there are several ways that you can do this. Firstly, if you or your congregation are on Facebook, you can like and follow the team's Facebook page, where we share up-to-date stewardship information, relevant spiritual content and stories of different congregations as they travel on their own stewardship journeys. And we would love to connect with you on there. You can also email our team to our team email address, which is on screen now, stewardship@churchofscotland.org.uk. Or you can email each of us directly. And although each member of the team is the initial contact for several presbyteries, we work together and collaboratively. So feel free to reach out to any of us and we will make sure that we help you in the best way possible. And hopefully we can start by helping you just now, as we are soon going to be heading into our Q&A session. So for now, I will hand back to Margot.